Yes, that's right. It's 4:15 Pacific time, so it might be a little bit closer to not now. It's not really nighttime for East Coast. It's 7 o'clock in East Coast. That's still a lot of good daylight. So welcome everybody. Hey, listen, people. This week the times are changing. My new shift, but I'm in training this week, so the shows this week it's gonna be like at 4 o'clock. Then the next week I got to figure out, is it gonna be super early in the morning or late at night? But I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll figure it out. All that matters is I got some cryptids today, some paranormal, some UFOs, but there is a brand new trailer for a series that's out there. Brand new series that's out. Not brand new, but maybe brand new to some people. So if some of you have not seen this series trailer, I used the words. I go, Connor, I need some words for this new little trailer. Connor's just like, I swear, people, I swear, like 15, 20 minutes later, bam, Connor sent me this paragraph. I'm like, how does this guy even think of this quick? But you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean, Bigfoot Anon's paragraph? When you see this trailer, all the words that's in this series trailer all comes from Connor himself. This is what I'm talking about. Now,
that's dope. When did you do that?
Oh, I put it out yesterday.
Oh shit, bro, that's great.
Put it out yesterday, Connor. A couple days ago, I asked Connor if he got some words for this guy, for this person working with me with this trailer, and Connor put in the words, and it just fit in so perfectly. Because if you notice in the little new trailer, the Bigfoot's not even shown until the words of becoming with nature. Because Bigfoot is nature. Then boom, right there. There's Richard. I tell you guys what, it's only 30 seconds. I'm gonna show it one more time. That was fun. You know, the idea of that little trailer is I wanted it closer to black and white in a way, so it doesn't look exactly like the cartoon. So that's the new trailer. So if anybody wants to somehow promote it, show people the trailer. Maybe that'll get them hyped. Like, what is that? What is that? If you guys notice in the trailer, there's no Viking ogre in it either. There's no dinosaur, but it's still exciting. So there's a lot. But beyond that, guys, we're here because we want to learn. We want to know some cryptids, right? Is that why we're here? To learn some cryptids?
Oh yeah.
Well, I got a video of a first cryptid. It's called the myth. Fuck, I don't even know how to pronounce it. The myth Nurarihyon, Huhan. I don't know. I can't fucking pronounce it. I think it's here. It's a Japanese cryptid. All right, it's Japanese cryptid. That's why I can't pronounce it. But I bet you Connor can pronounce it just like that. Just like that. But here's a little cryptid.
I'm not going to be able to look at autumn gourds the same way ever again. Not after this one. Nurarihyon is a Japanese yokai or supernatural monster or being of folklore said to originate from Wakayama Prefecture. There's also something believed to be a descendant from the Onobusu of Okayama. The Nurarihyon is usually depicted as an old man with a gourd-shaped head and wearing a kisha. These small, wrinkly little beings are said to sneak into someone's house while they are away, drinking their tea and acting as if it is their house. Because these things sort of look human, anyone who sees him will mistake him as the owner of the house, making it very hard to expel him. All we have left of this particular creature is pictures. Its real powers remain a bit of a mystery. However, it is possible that it has sword-related powers, for it is always seen as carrying its sword and never seen with putting it down. Now let me ask you this, what would you do if you came home to find a little walking gourd man scurrying around your house drinking all of your tea? Not sure most will really enjoy that, but let me know what you think and write your answers in the comments below. Thank you for staying with us to the end. If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button down below.
So, Connor, I'm sure you know something about that cryptid. Anything you can add to that cryptid?
Yeah, it's definitely like an elf-like being, type goblin, but I liked how that description was a little bit more human-like and that it can actually pass for one of us. So honestly, when it was playing, I was kind of tripping out, hoping that one of them isn't living in my trailer when I'm working at the game store, you know, and all of us, of course, when we're away at our job, who knows what's happening at our house? And of course, these creatures could already manipulate the ring camera.
I got one of them living in my basement, one of them little bastards. I just choke him out when he just comes down there. Choke him out.
It's like Mac and Me meets Dobby, but a little evil version, man. But very, very interesting. And I loved how much in-depth that one went into. And it taught me something.
I sent you a super chat, Eric.
Go and leave a comment in the comments.
Is it the shape here? Oh, let me see if I get a picture. Don't you guys remember the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull? How the Indiana Crystal Skull has that long, almost shaped head, kind of like
Bone
that.
head, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's related or not, but when I saw that shape, it kind of reminded me of the Crystal Skull. Now, Anthony says something about the chat.
Oh yeah, I sent you a super chat.
Oh, somebody sent a super chat? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, somebody.
Oh, shit. Unidentified sport today.
I don't know that guy.
Well, you know, I'm trying to win that toy because Anthony has these cool toys giveaway. I had to donate some money because I got to get my name into a toy. Some Star Wars toy.
And the Predator one. Yeah.
And let me make that higher. Let me see here. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man, these things are really lifelike. Andy told me if he wins, he's gonna take the fishnets off and wear them.
Oh my gosh! I got the samurai predator right here.
Oh man, that's
a
dope.
bunch of people think they're like clever and original, being like, "Oh, just drop them in the old."
I know somebody that has a full-length 7-foot statue of that in his house, like a full representation with like the real clothes on and everything. Yeah, it's dope. That samurai one.
Well,
wait till a movie of that comes out.
It's insane.
Now, I know Connor heard this other cryptid. You guys ever heard the cryptid called the Lau? Lau? See, I know Connor has. See, Anthony, this is beautiful, right? You get to learn new cryptids that are out there, and I mean, not new. Connor and I talked about it before. A lot of these cryptids are the same from different countries. It's just they name them differently.
Different names, right?
But there's same relations, but sometimes they have a different story that goes along with their cryptid. So a lot of times, even though they might be the same cryptid from these other countries, but sometimes we learn new things about these cryptids. So this is the Lau.
Lau is a large carnivorous tentacled dinosaur-like creature that is said to stalk the dense papyrus-filled swamps around central Sudan's Lake No. It is usually described as an immense elamosaur-like creature, which can grow from 12 to 100 feet in length, with a long tapering neck, yellowish-brown pigmentation, and a body which has been compared to a donkey with flippers. The Lau's most intriguing attribute would have to be the series of bristling tentacle-like appendages, which allegedly protrude from the animal's muzzle and aid it in snaring its prey. That description duly noted, there have been other reports, which have depicted the beast as being muscular and round, not entirely unlike a monstrous version of the hippopotamus. Still, other accounts describe an aquatic super snake with legs. Most investigators regard these reports as representing essentially different animals. The Lao is often associated with the Lakwata of Lake Victoria, which is connected to Lake No by East Africa's White Nile. The two animals are said to share numerous characteristics, including a taste for human flesh. The creatures have also been reputed to emit a similar cry, which natives say is reminiscent of the thundering of elephants. In the late 1800s, a Lao was reportedly seen near Wa, Sudan, but the creature's first brush with international acclaim came in 1914, when a group of Shiklik Aborigines reportedly killed a specimen of the creature in the swamps of Adar in order to use its bones to create protective amulets. Sadly, this unique beast's corpse was never recovered by any legitimate scientific body. Some years later, a 12-foot Lao was allegedly seen in Bahr el Zaraf, which forms in the southern Sud wetlands as an arm of the White Nile, and in 1918, Lao gurgling sounds were also reported coming from the region. There is even an account of an anonymous civil servant from the then Belgian colonial administration who allegedly reported that he had taken a shot at a Lao, but had unfortunately missed. In 1924, an Aborigine named Bilaltit reportedly gave a British petty officer named Stevens a sample of a slain Lao's vertebra. This was at the request of Uganda's provincial governor, Sir Frederick John Jackson, who was renowned for his penchant for discovering new species. There surfaced some controversy, however, when it was discovered that the Aborigine had substituted a Lao bone for that of another animal in order to keep the coveted talisman for himself. Finally, in 1937, William Hitchens published a photo of a wooden effigy of a Lao's head that was used in native rituals. The head was carved by Mashingo Shigunda, a hunter who spent many years in the Nile swamp. The creature was also chronicled in John G. Malay's book, Far Away and Up the Nile. The Lao was also featured in the popular Cartoon Network animated series, The Secret Saturdays.
Isn't that a weird looking picture right there?
You know what it looked like, Eric? It looked like an aquatic version of a T-Rex almost, right? The short arms, the way the back and the tail go. Just the face was, tentacle-like.
Yeah, it's like a face of Davy Jones.
Right. Good call. Exactly.
Yeah, kind of a mix between an octopus and a squid. It reminded me of the Lusca. Eric, if you can look that up real quick. Lusca, the Lusca, which is half shark, half octopus. So it had that similar vibe, but this definitely has that reptile dinosaur vibe. And it was really cool. It definitely reminded me of the bunny yip from Australia as well. That kind of patrolled
again.
Banks.
I'm sorry.
Lusca, Lusca.
Oh, CA. I put a K and it gave me a country.
Yeah, it's Lusca from the Bahamas. But as you guys know, with octopuses, they can squeeze through anything. Like a quarter-size hole. And the males, they keep growing in size. So again, if this is anything like those type of creatures, if a male doesn't mate, that thing's just going to keep growing. But doesn't that look like it?
Have they ever captured one of these things, or is this just it's
not in recent times, but it goes back to the beginning of times of the Aboriginals in the Caribbean.
Man, can you
all
imagine
throughout
that
the
thing
Caribbean
coming after you?
Yeah, they patrol the blue holes of the Bahamas, and there's blue holes all over America, all over Africa, all across the world. So
deep drop
really
off
cool.
The blue holes.
They all connect.
Really?
Don't they all?
Somewhere they gotta. The water finds a way,
True.
And there's so many parts of the water that we can't explore, that we can't get to.
Looks like Jeremy Wade went after the Lusca monster in one episode. That is so rad.
Look at that one.
That's a cool rendition of it, man. That's a sick looking creature.
Yeah, I'm talking to Jack right now about making like a Lusca shark movie, because the two shark movies that were filmed here in town, Shark and Saw Women's Prison Massacre, like that sounds like just a generic shark movie, but it is actually a shark that can go on land and the water. So that's pretty cool. So you could get creative with that.
I was just thinking about an alien shark type movie using that thing, man.
Yeah,
I could see that in like a lake on another planet or an ocean on another planet. That thing coming out after you.
Hey, if a movie doesn't use it, then it's going to be in the Paranormal Highway cartoon.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
I see that Crowley asked Connor, "You into yaois much?" He said, probably a stupid question. And he already knows the answer. The answer is yes. I've seen every single episode of Yowie Hunters. I definitely recommend it. It's a YouTube channel where they have two different people, a woman and a man. They alternate, I guess, whenever time's up for them, when it's convenient. But they interview Yowie witnesses from Australia. And it is so rad because it's so cool to hear people from English dialect, but different slang terminology talk about their times in terror. And so it's just like, oh my gosh, you could hear when that person is just, bleeding from their soul, pouring it right on the page, onto the screen. And it's special. So yeah, Crowley, I'm all about the Yowie Wowie, man.
Talking about sea creatures, I was talking to Connor last night. I said, hey, the sea creature you mentioned in this one, I think I should bring this one into 5. And he's like, yeah, you should. Always think about the sea creatures. Like, wouldn't this creature fit perfectly here? Your mind's never stopped thinking, stop working and all that. Well, guys, I think it's time for a little paranormal. I almost press it again. I almost screwed that up. All right, guys. Anybody knows about the Oxford Castle? It's probably more for the UK people. Maybe more towards them. Well, apparently there's paranormal at the Oxford Castle. So here's a little guy telling a little story about some spookiness that has happened at the Oxford Castle.
Of Oxford Castle spans back to 1071, when it was built by Richard Doyley. Kieran O'Keefe believes the modifications on the castle have influenced ghostly sightings.
We're standing in a location that has a history that goes back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, albeit it's a classic haunted location because you've got so many different layers in history where it's been built upon and it's been used for various different purposes. But ultimately, even though we're standing in a building that's called Oxford Castle Unlocked, it is Oxford Castle as in it's a prison. So its main thing that's associated with it is the prison. And for me, that's almost the part that people latch onto in terms of the hauntings. The fact that you've got effectively tormented souls, people that would have been incarcerated here, people that potentially would have been incarcerated here for quite minor crimes and feel unjustly incarcerated, but also those that may have been wrongly convicted and put into these locations. But also, people died here. There were executions that occurred not far from where we're standing.
Under the depths of the castle floor is the 900-year-old crypt, where people believe they have spotted unusual characters.
This actual room is known as the crypt, way down, kind of underground in Oxford Castle Unlocked. And this is a particularly fascinating area, and I've heard experiences change over the 15 or so years that I've been investigating this location. But primarily, it involves the presence of a monk. So it certainly might have changed over the last couple of years because of groups being involved and different people just getting a sense of oppression, just not liking this particular area. There's also been a few reports of people having a sensation of a little child walking around them, even just the sense that there's one there, and people kind of hearing voices or just getting that sort of evidence. But certainly the overarching feature down here, I keep looking over there just because when I first started investigating, when this became Oxford Castle Unlocked, that was the first area that people focused on. This idea that there was a monk or kind of shadowy figure over in that particular corner. And I think it's kind of moved around depending on the groups that investigate. But this is a particularly active area.
And if you have ever taken a photo in the crypt, it may be worth having a closer look.
There's a couple of photos that have been captured in Oxford Castle that when you see them, you do tend to have that goosebump reaction, especially one of them, which is a camera that's pointed down at the end of the corridor, and there's no mistaking the fact that there's a figure at the end of the corridor. And anybody that I've shown it to, they all have that shiver reaction. So that's a local example of something that has been quite scary.
Kieran is always asked to look over evidence people believe they have captured from around the world.
I'm presented with loads of photos and videos and audio, and if we just take it on face value from what the person has said, we could say that that is very scary without thinking about alternative explanations. There's one particular EVP which is caught from a hotel in upstate New York back in 2008. A group were sitting on the staircase, they were talking into a dictaphone, they didn't hear anything around them, but when they played it back, what they got was quite loud voices of women, and then it became quite an aggressive attack onto one of those women. So it's incredibly dark.
What's with these ghosts attacking women? What, they don't, what, the ghosts don't know the Me Too movement yet? God, somebody got to slap these. Now, what's interesting about the castle is
that, for me, when I heard that,
not just because there's a prison, because he talks about there's a jail there. So there's ghost spirits of people who have been murdered, that has been, but then later on, through the history of this castle, they've heard kids ghost and all that. So it's pretty amazing when you listen to the actual stories of the different kind of ghosts, even at a place in the history of a place. You know, you think prison, people who got murdered, you know, haunt, but then you hear that kids ghosts are there. I mean, you just never know at a place that you're at, you know. I mean, it's and I think one person in the chat was saying, well, Eric, actually every place in the UK is haunted. I can see that, because I guess you could think about the UK is probably the oldest part of the country, kind of like when you look at the United States, there are probably more ghosts in New York because that's where the majority of the people that came in and population-wise lived. So, of course, more deaths, more this, more ghosts and all that. So, I don't know. I just thought a little interesting about the Oxford Castle. I haven't never been there. I want to go there, but I think that Connor and Anthony, they, you know, if Discovery Plus is watching this, I know you guys are, you should be sending us to the Oxford Castle.
I would love to go. We could stay by Andy's house.
Yeah, we can stay with Andy and Dr. Wu out there.
Yeah, Andy and Dr. Wu.
Give us the tour of under the bridges where we can hide when doomsday comes, and point out the Vatican to us to stay far away. I
remember that guy from the show Most Haunted. He used to come on the show Most Haunted and speak every now and then. That guy that was just doing the talk. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Just based on the Discovery Talk, today I actually applied to be a speaker on the Alaskan Bigfoot cruise.
No
so that
way.
would be really cool. But cruise lines are definitely going to have to change their rules a little bit before I'm able to get on the boat. But I'm very excited about that. And, you know, I didn't charge an appearance fee. I just said I would need the travel paid for, of course. You know, that's only fair. But that would be so cool. That because I've been wanting to go to Alaska for so long, and the cruise stops at like 4 different places in Alaska.
See if they need a guy to do UFO tours after your Bigfoot one. I'll give everybody a night vision camera, scan the sky on the boat.
Cruise is a paranormal cruise?
A Bigfoot cruise. It actually is being put on by the people that put on the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference that I spoke at, and the Tennessee Bigfoot Conference I was just at. The big thing, the third leg of their tripod is this Alaskan Bigfoot cruise. Pretty wild.
Thanks, Chris.
Honestly, you should look into it.
Well, that cruise, if it's going to Alaska, most all Alaska cruises stops right here in Seattle. Almost every single cruise.
Are there going to be stops on that cruise where you get off and you go tour certain areas and stuff?
Yeah, I saw like three or 4 Alaskan cities. Yeah.
Cool.
Super rad. And I've actually gotten like encounters sent to me from people from Alaskan cruise lines, not even Bigfoot cruises, just Alaskan cruise lines. Things happen. So yeah, man, I'm super interested. And if I don't make it on the lineup, totally cool. I'm glad it exists, and I hope someone that we know can go. That would be so
when is that supposed to go? Because I would like to go to that.
September 2023, I think.
Yeah,
so.
Man, I would. If you're gonna go, I'll go.
Yeah. Again, if the cruise lines change their rules, I'm down for it.
That's just interesting because
mandates right now, you know.
I mean, I know that a lot of rock and roll concerts are on these cruise ships. You know, they have concerts, all these bands come, but I've never heard of a paranormal or a Bigfoot or like a UFO on a ship where they just dedicate their stuff to it. So that's kind of weird and wicked and cool at the same time.
Very cool.
The last cruise I went on was the Chris Jericho Rock and Rager cruise, and it was AEW wrestling cruise. And what was wild is they actually had one paranormal podcast. I forget what they were called, but they did 2 shows. And the final show, what they did was summoning UFOs from the top deck. And it was pretty cool. We all did like this collective energy. And I didn't see anything, when we were all together. But the rest of the night, me and my buddy David, we just sat on our balcony for the rest of the night and just looked into the ocean, looked into the sky, and that honestly felt like 2001: Space Odyssey. Like the world came to life that night.
I would love to bring night
really
vision
cool.
on a cruise.
So September
that would be
of
super dope.
2022.
You would just
I'm
have
gonna check that out.
landscape, and
Right.
I'm sure there's cameras that can like see underwater too, so you could like get some kind of view. That would just be so wild.
I'm
I'd
gonna check
love
out
to do
that
that.
cruise because I guarantee that cruise has to stop in Seattle because it
Would
goes
you
to
go,
Alaska.
Eric?
If it stops here in Seattle, I think if it stops here in Seattle, because I always want to go on a cruise ship. I have not gone on one yet,
Me neither. I've never been on a cruise.
and
Oh,
I
they're
haven't.
awesome.
I have not been to Alaska, and there's a lot of cruise ships that goes to Alaska from Seattle. I mean, it's
This
one
is
step
something we
away.
should talk more on. We could do a whole show from this
Yeah.
cruise.
And 2023 gives you plenty of time
Plenty
to
of time.
build up for
There's
it.
only 200 cabins though. That's what they said. So we'll send each other the link after
Oh
this
no!
show.
If you're working there, me and Eric are bunking with you for free. What are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah, for
man?
sure. If they let me in, I'm calling the shots. Yeah, I get.
Me and Eric are going to be stowaways in Connor's room.
Guys, I think it's time for some. Since we got Anthony here, we got some UFO
baby.
talk. I've got to ask Anthony.
Break it out.
about.
Break it.
Now, before we get to the title of the show about this UFO image, I got to talk to Anthony about because I'm curious about this picture from 30 years ago that now it's uncovered. Where the hell has this fucking picture been for 30 years if it's uncovered?
I know exactly.
I'm
where
not
you're
saying
going with
true or
this.
not, but before we get to it, this is just a little history of a pilot in Washington of 1947, Kenneth Arnold. UFO that he spotted in my beautiful state of Washington that I live in. I thought this is a cool little history. So, guys, this is June 24th, 1947, about a UFO that was reported by Kenneth Arnold in the wonderful state of Washington.
Hello and welcome to History Pod. On the 24th of June 1947, the first widely reported UFO sighting was made by private pilot Kenneth Arnold. Kenneth Arnold was a business owner and experienced private pilot who often travelled to meetings around the Pacific Northwest in his small Corsair A2. He was a well-respected founder of the Idaho Search and Rescue Pilots Association and had built up 9,000 flying hours by the time he departed Chehalis in Washington on a routine 150-mile flight to Yakima on the afternoon of the 24th of June, 1947. Arnold had deviated from his intended flight path in the hope of locating a Marine Corps C-46 transport plane that had crashed near Mount Rainier and claiming the $5,000 reward.
Great.
Having failed to spot the wreckage, he made a 300-degree turn 9,200 feet above the town of Mineral and witnessed a bright flash in the distance. Looking north, Arnold reported seeing a formation of 9 roughly circular objects flying at an incredible speed. He subsequently calculated that they were moving at more than 1,700 miles per hour. Arnold was most startled by the lack of a tail on the objects, but initially just assumed that he'd witnessed an experimental military aircraft. He reported the sighting to the general manager of the airfield at Yakima when he landed, and before long, the story spread. The fact that Arnold was both a respected businessman and an experienced pilot meant that his account was taken seriously by the press. Consequently, he began to be bombarded with requests for interviews. When questioned about the objects, he repeatedly likened their flying style to how a pie plate or a saucer might skip across water. In what he later complained was an historic misquote, the press coined the now ubiquitous phrase, flying saucers.
All right, so what do we think of that story?
Incredible.
I think there's truth to it. I think there's truth to it because first of all, yeah, there's experimental planes, that military that does now, but we got to remember this is also 1947. Okay, they wouldn't have planes that almost looks like the shape that he's talking about. Maybe they have the technology now, but not in 1947.
No,
and
there was more than one. There was multiple.
Yes,
he saw multiple below him.
And why would it be multiple?
Yeah, he saw below his Cessna at altitude. He saw the sun shimmering off them as they went through the mountain range, and he said it was like if you flung a saucer on water and it would skip. That's basically the motion that they were flying. So just imagine seeing all of them below you as you're flying in a Cessna back in 1947. You're looking at these advanced craft blow past you like that, right? Pretty scary feeling probably for him.
What I liked about the story is just like what she wrote. Well, that's dedication. He was just doing it because he was trying to get the reward, $5,000. Now, remember, 1947, $5,000 a lot of money in 1947.
Oh yeah,
$5,000 a lot of money now. And he went to go look for trying to get money, and he sees all these ships. Hey. Sometimes you're on a different path. That's what happens, right? I bet you Connor going on a lot of Bigfoot hunts and then not expecting to see a lot of weird things in the sky. Yep. And he probably saw more weird things in the sky than he has walking in the woods.
You always got to expect the unexpected.
That's right.
My favorite part was that it said that flying saucers, that term came from that whole incident.
That's
so,
right.
Eric, that's your backyard. You have two of some of the coolest UFO stories. You have the one that crashed in the water, where you and your dog go hiking at, and then this one that literally you can see Mount Rainier out your window. So right in your skies, this happened. Flying saucer was
right. You're right there, Mount Rainier, man.
That's so cool.
The Mary Island incident. I think it's almost. Is it 40? Was it almost the same year? Or was it 54? But it's almost close to this, within the same timeline. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. But now, since I got Anthony, I gotta know about this photo, this thing. Is this even a thing to even talk about? Now, I'm gonna play this video, but it's mostly music. But I'll read it what it says.
Truth is out there.
Hold on. It says the world's most infamous UFO photo, considered lost for over 30 years, had finally been uncovered. I got a question about that. The so-called Calvin photograph was taken by two unidentified hikers on a hillside near Calvin, Scotland on August 4th, 1990. Estimated to have been up to 31 long, have shot of a high speed straight up in the sky, never to be seen again. Photos were given to Scotland's Daily Record News past ministry before vanishing with only a black and white photograph in existence. Dr. David managed to track down the photo by seeking out former RAF press officer Craig Lindsay, who had a copy of the photo when working as a go-between for the press and Ministry of Defense. After 32 years, an extensive investigation appeals to be able to show exclusive photograph of the world we are anyone with any information to identify. Now, first of all, I want to ask Anthony straight up: is this story a hoax, or is there some belief story in this photo? Because the only reason I'm asking is, you're telling me a photo that's this important been lost and has been found during an investigation?
The actual photo itself sat in the Ministry of Defense office one of their investigators that Nick Pope, the joke, worked with, had it hanging up behind his desk, blown up. And he held
So
on
is
to
there a
it.
belief in this then?
Yeah,
Is
he
there-
held on to the
has
actual
a
photo
response?
all these years. That's Lindsay.
There it is.
He's the guy that had the photo. David Clark sought him out to get the original photo. I tell you, to be honest with you, the best person, if you want to see a great show, go to Truth Seekers. Stephen Cambion and our friend Spooky, that's on that one time I was abducted by aliens, did a phenomenal presentation on this photo. The aircraft that you see in there is real, but two people in the Scottish Highlands allegedly took the photo while they were out on a hike, and they noticed this craft out in the distance. But there's a lot of controversy around that, because the actual landscape that you're not seeing now, because it's shrouded in fog in this picture, is actually all mountain ranges and everything back there. So some people believe that you're actually seeing the top of a mountain obscured by fog. It could be. Stephen Cambion did an artist rendition on that, where he superimposed this photo over the landscape, and the craft actually matched up to one of the mountaintops there, like perfectly.
Wait, that's interesting, but
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm giving credit to the aliens as well, that, you know, of course they could have technology that could, you know, easily blend into that. But
Without
I
a
think that's
doubt, they have
interesting.
technology that can cloak into anything. The technology far surpasses anything that we have. I
Yeah.
wasn't there, so I don't know. I would love to say this is real, because
How long
it
has
would
this
just be an
story?
amazing. 1990, I believe this is when this
1990, but
happened.
it's like when I was looking up UFO stories, it seemed like this one was everywhere, and within the last
Right.
7 to 14 days.
The
Was there?
photo just came back out. This is the Calvine UFO.
So that's why it's everywhere. And I
Well,
was
they
just looking at it.
they just found Lindsay had the actual photo. He's the guy that had this photo hanging up behind his desk at the Ministry of Defense.
But how do you feel about this? When you look at this, do you feel? I know we don't know at 100%, but do you feel that could be the real deal in that picture?
It could be the real deal. It could. I remember hearing the photos went out for analysis, and they came back that it was a real photo. There was no alteration to the photo itself. So who's to say?
I don't know why in my head I'm thinking, with the UFO getting bigger every single year, why did unless these guys were telling their story, nobody was listening? Like, why this wasn't even talked about, even if the photo was lost or whatever? How come I haven't really heard these two guys, these hikers, even talk about it in the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah, that's another thing. They never, really brought it, it was never dramatized. It was like, these guys were on a hike, two guys on a hike. One guy had a camera with black and white film, which was also odd to have, back in the 90s, carrying around black and white film, unless they were looking to take landscape shots. I really don't know.
A lot of people take pictures of animals, use black and white
and,
to get
and
that
landscape
shot.
Because the Scottish Highlands is just beautiful landscape over there.
Yes.
So, if you wanted to take shots in black and white and you're an avid photographer, I could see you doing that in black and white. And then the aircraft, I can't remember what kind of aircraft it was. It escapes me at this moment, but the aircraft in the frame also is an actual aircraft. So it wasn't like placed there in the photo. I also heard that these planes came down into the Scottish Highlands because it was one of those areas where they would fly in and turn around at low altitude, something like 500-600 feet. But who's to say if that craft was actually there? It could be. There's a lot of factors that go into this story that are like hit and miss. But it's one of those that if you just got to keep digging into it. It's a really cool story, though.
No, I appreciate it. That's why I wanted you on to ask you: is this a thing that we should look into? Is this something
Harrier jet?
It is worth the research?
It was a Harrier jet. That's what it is. Forgive me. Just escaped me. Thanks,
so
Ron.
your opinion is worth the research. It is worth checking it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Listen, any of these photos that aren't CGI and people aren't imposing bullshit UFOs and planes and things are worth a look. If it's an actual photo, it's worth a look.
Because Deer in Headlight wrote, the dude had a display next to his wedding photo.
Right.
Huh. That's Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. That's why I wanted to bring you up, because when I hear, photos found, from 30 years ago, first thing in my mind is, how does a photo just appear? I mean, that's the first thing I was thinking, not knowing the whole history of it.
Yeah, well, thank God the guy Lindsay had it hanging up at his desk, and when he left the Ministry of Defense, he thought enough to take it and pack it away and he held on to it. That's why we still have it today. Otherwise, that photo would have been lost forever. And it's a great photo. Matter of fact, it was in the newspaper in England a couple days ago.
Okay.
Spooky saved the newspaper, so if you talk to Spooky, he's got the actual paper with that photo in it, which was cool.
This colored photo,
this
version of it, you can see the plane a little bit better, and it looks a little different.
That's an artist. That's Nick Pope.
He made a rendition of it.
That's a commission of like a recreation of it, but that's what the background and the landscape actually would look like. Yes, right.
Yeah, if you want to see it.
Nick Pope was like a secretary at the Ministry of Defense, like low-level guy that tried to say he was a big shot there, but he was just a low-level secretary. But he had that commissioned so you could see what the terrain actually looked like.
It was trending. It was trending worldwide when I did my show with Akashi Chris and you did your show with Brown Dwarf. Because I was pretty pumped. I was on a UFO show, and then of course the Calvine UFO is trending on Twitter that day. It was just super cool.
Hobbs wrote, some say that the aircraft is a reflection in the water, but if you look at the full photo, there would be a plane an equal distance above the reflection. It isn't there.
Yeah, there's no water in that background. That's some people are saying, it could be a rowboat, and no, that's an actual heritage.
But I mean, it's fine to think that, because you're just trying to.
There's so many theories on that photo right now, Eric. It's mind-boggling.
It is. That's why I wanted to talk about it, because I was just seeing that everybody's talking about it. I'm like, maybe I get Anthony. Maybe explain to me is something I should look into, because when I just see the word 30 years photo found, I'm thinking, oh wow, that's funny. A photo's just found after 30 years. But when you guys are explaining it, it makes sense. And the guy actually did have the photo up, even at a wedding. He just he wasn't looking for fame and stuff and looking for like clicks and stuff. It was just like a normal day for him.
When Kari said that, the planes would fly in at low altitude there and then turn around, because it was a base, an air base somewhere not far from those Scottish Highlands, and they would come in and they fly at low altitude by those mountain ranges to turn around over there. It made sense. Like that Harrier jet was probably there flying in at low altitude to bank and turn around and go back to base. So the craft in that area where it was is in the right area. It makes sense where it would fly in low and turn. Now the craft itself was gigantic. It was reflective, metallic. So it's one of those strange sightings that, if it's real, the guy that took it got very lucky and caught it.
That's awesome. I learn something every day. This is awesome. Hey guys, this next video is for fun. This is for fun. Connor went and saw the movie The Beast over the weekend. I haven't saw Beast yet. The Beast is about the movie about a lion, attacking people. And the first thing I thought of the movie, The Ghost and the Darkness. There actually is a Mandela effect for that. People remember the movie being called The Ghost in the Darkness, but it's called Ghost in the Darkness. This is not about that. But if you guys haven't seen the Val Kilmer movie, which is an awesome movie, it's based on a true story. If a lot of people don't know that about these lions, and here's a video about the story of the lions in the attack for the Ghost and the Darkness. So in celebration of the Beast coming out with the lion, this is a story about the Ghost and the Darkness and the two lions.
One dark night, the familiar terror-stricken cries and screams awoke the camps, and we knew that the demons had returned and had commenced a new list of victims. On this occasion, a number of men had been sleeping outside their tents for the sake of coolness, thinking, of course, that the lions had gone for good, when suddenly, in the middle of the night, one of the brutes was discovered forcing its way through the thick thorn fence constructed around the camp. The alarm was at once given, and sticks, stones, and firebrands were hurled in the direction of the intruder. All was of no avail, however, for the lion burst into the midst of the terrified group, seized an unfortunate wretch amid the cries and shrieks of his companions, and dragged him off through the thick thorn fence. He was joined outside by the second lion, and so daring had the two brutes become that they did not trouble to carry their victim any further away, but devoured him within 30 yards of the tent from which he had been seized. Although several shots were fired in their direction, the lions took no notice and did not attempt to move until their horrible meal was finished. In March 1898, the British started building a railway bridge over the Tsavo River in Kenya. The project was led by Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson. During the next 9 months of construction, two maneless male lions stalked the campsite, dragging Indian workers from their tents at night and devouring them. The work crews tried to scare off the lions with campfires and thorn fences, but the lions leaped over or crawled through the thorn fences. After the new attacks, hundreds of workers fled from Tsavo, halting construction on the bridge. Patterson set traps and tried several times to ambush the lions at night from a tree. After repeated unsuccessful endeavors, he shot the first lion on the 9th of December, 1898. 20 days later, the second lion was found and killed. The first lion killed measured 9 feet 8 inches from nose to tip of tail. It took 8 men to carry the carcass back to camp. Although the exact number of people killed by the lions is unclear, the theories range from 28 to 135 victims. After 25 years as Patterson's floor rugs, the lion skins were sold to the Chicago Field Museum in 1924 for a sum of $5,000. The lion skins arrived at the museum in very poor condition. They were then reconstructed and are now on permanent display along the original skulls.
Now, why'd I even play that video? Well, people, a lot of times we're all on research. We're all looking for cryptids. We're all looking for aliens, Bigfoots, whatever that's out there. But sometimes we forget. You got to watch out because nature that we do know exists can kill you just the same.
Oh yeah.
You know, bears and these lions are actually at a museum that man. So even though we got to watch out for cryptids, but you got to watch out for these creatures.
Absolutely.
And all that because those lions are actually at a museum. You know, I mean, you know, lions are dangerous, but they're not super known to, you know, they usually stay in their own territory, you know, kind of bears, but from time to time, they could come after you, you know, just like you hear about these oceans that these sharks are not usually by the beaches, and all of a sudden people are seeing sharks. So you fuck with nature, nature might fuck back with you.
That's right. I told you a couple weeks ago, man, I was standing in the water. It was like 100 degrees out. I'm in the water right here on my beach in Staten Island, up to my knees. A school of bluefish or striped bass come in, right? They're chasing these little minnows. Fucking fish jumps out of the water, shark, thrash, and fin comes out of the water, thrash. Man, I ran out of that water so fast, I couldn't believe it. All my years here, I never seen a shark that close to the shoreline where I was standing, man. They're out there in abundance now.
Well, you know, think about it. While the earth is changing a little bit, temperature is changing, a lot of fires in the woods, pushing animals out and stuff. You know, listen, a lot of these forests that are getting burnt down. You know, what does that mean? Well, these animals got to go in smaller places. They're hungry too. So now when they're hungrier, we're food. We could be food for these people. So you gotta be careful now, even more.
We really got to start taking care of this planet, man. We rape and pillage and put nothing back. It's
water starts to get warmer. Sharks are gonna be closer to the beaches now because the water is more to their liking.
Yeah, man.
Well, I definitely love that movie, and The Beast was definitely very cool. Not on the level of Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas, but it was definitely, you know, quality film. They poachers hunt down a whole pride and leave one top lion, and he is back for revenge, and he doesn't care who's in his path. But it was very cool seeing Idris Elba and Charlito Kipley from District 9, or Copley, however you say his last name. But man, it was definitely a cool mixture. But this weekend I went to a film festival the Southern Film Festival, saw a bunch of cool movies, and I went with Mitch, and his movie won Best Short Film. And,
oh, no way.
And the lead actor got Best Actor. So he swept the board. Both awards that he was going for, he won. Everybody enjoyed his movie. Got to make some major connections with some horror directors. There was this one legendary director that he opened up his own film festival called Slam Dance, kind of like Sundance, but it's Slam Dance. Dan Milzen or something. I forget his last name. I hate that. I forget. But he directed a movie called 18 and a Half about the missing 18 and a half minutes from the Watergate scandal.
Oh, no
so
way.
it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, alternate history comedy movie. And the lead character was the Italian dude from the movie Overlord, which I love Overlord. I know Eric loved Overlord. And he was a great actor in it. So it was really cool. And Bruce Campbell was in the movie too. And we got to watch it with the director and the writer of the movie. So that was just such a cool experience. And they definitely got a kick out of my Bigfoot questions and the paranormal realm. And I actually told them about the Paranormal Highway cartoon and a couple of my documentaries.
Get that cartoon ended, man.
Cat. Yeah, Eric's going to be submitting that to some festivals here soon.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited just to see what unfolds of that, man.
It's all fun. Well, people, guess what? I gotta shut down the show just a little earlier than an hour because I gotta text. I gotta take 4 kids home. Being a parent, I guess that's part of the job, right?
Part of the job. Baby.
I didn't sign up to take people home, but I guess somehow I get elected to it. But I want to thank God, it's been such a long day. Trust me, guys. Trust me. I've been in the same seat all day doing classes online. It's here. But I want to thank Anthony for jumping on, for giving me more of a insight of that picture because I didn't know what to think of it. Now, because what he's told me, now I got more to think about. Now I'm like, okay, I might look into it. Because before I was like 30 years, a picture just showed up, but it makes sense now. So that's why we do these shows. So, hopefully that some things do make sense to everything. And I want to thank Connor for jumping on. And tomorrow it's going to be the same time, 4:15 Pacific time, same exact time and all that. And maybe tomorrow I'm going to save out a little bit of time if Anthony and if Connor could jump on. I want to hear more about this festival, what's going on and all this kind of stuff, because man, a lot of great things are happening everywhere. A lot of friends that we know, good things are happening. I love it that we had a guy who's a character in our show is got a movie winning an award. It's just so fucking cool when you see the people we know doing it. I know that when Anthony's documentary comes out in October, it's going to explode too. It's going to win an award somewhere. And me and Connor be like, I know him. And when Connor makes a huge big, they're going to spot him in a movie, in his conference, whatever. We're like, we know him. So a lot of great things are happening, and I'm excited to see what the future has in hold. But like I said, I want to thank everybody for showing up today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Oh, can I just say one quick thing?
You got it.
I just want to congratulate my good friend from First Floor Audio, Lee. He just broke 500 subscribers on his channel. So if you're not subscribed to First Floor Audio, please go check them out. They got phenomenal music. They're live Saturday in the UK. Good friend of the show. Yep. Go check them out.
And I've always said this, guys. I'm be honest. I'm not really an Elton John fan. I'm really not. But when Lee sings it, I'm a fan of him singing his songs. Not really an Elton John fan, but I'm a fan of when Lee sings it. His voice is just like wow. It's like I never heard it that way.
Incredible.
Incredible voice.
Awesome. An incredible musician and a wonderful friend. So please go check him out. He's just a top-notch, high-quality, great guy, man. I love him. Great guy.
And now he's got 500, so he's got that community tab.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Lee, remember us.
He's on his way to a G. Let's get him to a G now.
Let's get it.
I'm going to end the show with the best new cartoon trailer that you're ever going to see. I got to start it from the beginning.